Today is Monday, December 5th, 2016, and this is Maelstrom Radio.
Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Flatus and Shinter.
And welcome everybody. This is Maelstrom Radio. My name is Flatus. With me, as always, my co-host Shinter. What a hell of a week last week was. Shin, how's it going?
That's a great way to describe it. It was one hell of a week.
It's been busy not playing Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I just realized when I finally logged onto my computer today that I don't think I've had it even on since Thursday last week. I was kind of busy doing other things.
I upgraded my PC.
You've got pretty beastly machine now.
I do. To tell you, I upgraded my PC. I had a i5 4690K. Now I'm running an i7 6700K unclocked with 16 gigs of DDR4 300 megahertz or 3000 megahertz RAM and Evo Hyper 212 cooler and a MSI board somewhere. It's like an M something Z110
something with a letter.
Yeah, something with a letter. It's actually gonna be Newegg's product of the year. They actually emailed me like, "Would you rate it?" I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty great." So far I stress tested over the weekend, and my temps were good. Under load about 65 C, and then just chilling out. It's somewhere between 30 and 35, somewhere within there, cooling out. So. Nice, very quiet. Unless I'm like really, I can jack up the fans and stuff. But other than that, sounds great. Also, I got a new mic.
I was gonna say, and your microphone sounds amazing now.
Right?
Not that the snowball was that bad, but
it wasn't. But now I'm rocking a blackout Yeti, so I went with the black on black Yeti, which I kind of dig. You should see my.
Not that we like had any. Well, yeah, we had lots of problems earlier, but. The stream's looking actually pretty decent. The quality's there.
Yeah, right.
Got everything set up and like
it's not like we threw hundreds of dollars.
No, not at all.
At this to make it worthwhile. But we did.
The answer, just like in my when I'm developing software, the answer is always throw more hardware at it.
You ever see the GIF for the guys just throwing hardware and cash at a computer? That was me this weekend. So far, great stuff. I think I'm updating my video card somewhere in the spring of next year. I'm running a 970 still, but I'm gonna be bumping that up to a 1080. But
still better than my 960.
I logged in the Final Fantasy and went to Idleshire in full, like everybody there, and I was still rocking about 60 to 70 frames per second.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I figure open world I was getting about 80, 90. So
apparently I was also wrong about my graphics card. I'm still rocking a 670.
Hey.
It works.
It does. I threw in to test load, I threw in Titanfall 2 and just jacked up all the graphics and pushed as far as I could. I know I have other things I have Far Cry and all that stuff, so I could push it if I really wanted to, but I just want to play Titanfall 2. Things not related to the show, but still kind of related to the show. So
The show is going to be sounding much better now.
yes. So like we said last time, I have a C922 camera. Shin's got the C920. We both have Yetis. We both have decent machines. So the quality is there. Also, I'm going to jump right into because this is more show news, but no big deal or whatever. But we're kind of on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play now. So
and along with that, hopefully that also means that we'll actually start getting the episodes up on time. Hasn't really happened in the past so much, but we have our website set up now. Most of our process is pretty much there. So after the show, we'll get the episode uploaded to YouTube and to our website. And once it's up there, then it should eventually get out to iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher, probably within the day or so.
Yep. So it was pretty fast setup. So all of our backlog episodes are on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. So if you missed anything, you're at work, you want to plow through about, I don't know, 20 hours almost of like content of us, go for it. There's some good stuff back there. You can laugh with us and make fun of us and listen
and
to.
You can hear how the quality has changed from we used to have content and we sounded really bad to we sound really good, but we have nothing to talk about.
Hey, I mean, the show came up like a thing from heaven. I was just like, yeah, I have an idea. I have a thing. I also have an idea for Christmas.
Ooh.
But
spoilers.
It may involve it may be a pain, and it may involve other podcasts. Yeah, I don't have no idea if any of them would actually do it, but it would be awesome. Also, I have an idea. I can actually talk about this. I have an idea, but it would have to be you and I finishing 15 and doing a special episode of Maelstrom where we actually talk about and review Final Fantasy 15. But
all right, so we'll do that like mid 2018.
Yes, whenever we found all the things. All right, let's get into actual Final Fantasy 14 news. There's not much, but there is some, so we will talk about it here. First up, there is a free login campaign going on right now. It's going to be actually started last Thursday, but it's going on right now. So between December 1st and January 4th. So for the whole month of December plus the first few days of January, you'll get 96 hours of playtime to log in. Now, it starts counting down as soon as you log in. So if you know you're going to have free time, you're taking a week off for the holidays, or you have vacation, the holiday time, you get some time off, and you're like, man, I have some free time, I can sit down and jump into Final Fantasy 14 again. Go ahead and do it. 96 hours is a lot of time. So
on the other hand, though, remember that this is finishing on Wednesday, January 4th, and if you have not completed 96 hours from that point, it still cuts off, I believe.
It do.
So start sometime before January 1st.
Yep. Next up, we have the Japanese FanFest stream. So, Shin, you want to go ahead and take that one?
Sure. We have the Tokyo FanFest stuff. The stream's available for purchase, and all of the content is going to be, at least all the main stage content will be in Japanese. Eventually, there will be English recaps after each segment. If you get the stream, you are entitled to the Wind Up Lulu minion. Or, of course, if you are actually attending in person, which would be awesome, but extremely cost prohibitive if you're not living in that area. It looks like most of the FanFest schedule for Tokyo is relatively similar to the one that we had in Vegas earlier.
So, yeah, I put up the schedule so we kind of look over it real quick though. So here's the thing. This is how the stream works. The stream's going to be in Japanese, but between each segment, they're going to do an English recap. So if you're from the UK or the Americas, you can purchase this without worrying that you're missing out. Because I believe the last stream it wasn't translated at all. So, um, so Marco Turn, who does all the live letter translations for us, Marco. Actually, I forgot to mention, Marco, we used your translation last time. I apologize. But we did use your translation. Thank you, Marco. But for whatever damn reason, Nico, which is the Japanese version of YouTube, is going to do the English stream for FanFest. Why?
I can see that. Like it's a pretty major service in Japan. I think that it's quite popular, so it makes sense that they're going to do the streaming for the Japanese side.
But
it'd be kind of like partnering with YouTube here, I think.
Fair enough, but the English, like, why not do the English? I guess if it would make sense, because if you're also in Japan, you don't have time to actually go to FanFest. You'd want to be able to. But man, have you ever gone to Nico's page?
Personally, I haven't in a while. I do know someone who's constantly on there.
Is it our former FC mate / your friend?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
The only person that I know that speaks Japanese.
Oh, okay, good, because I cannot figure that website out, and I'll usually Google Translate this.
We can probably help with that a little bit.
Sweet mercy.
Just don't leave it open overnight, because I think it's like around midnight or sometime around like that. It starts playing really, really loud, annoying sounds.
Like
I can't remember exactly off my head. I
now
remember.
Now I'm curious. Now I'm so curious.
I will look that up for you.
Thanks. All right. So while you do that, I'm gonna just go over real quick the Tokyo FanFest schedule. Just like here in the Vegas FanFest, they're gonna have the opening showcase, which is only available live, just like the keynote was only. Well, actually, the keynote was only available live here. I don't know what the opening showcase is. But the keynote will be there as well. So you're gonna have the keynote. You're gonna have the Ultimate Quiz Returns. Not sure what that is. Letter from the Producer Live, which we will get for free. So that would be part 2 of what we have already. So that's cool. December, where am I missing? And there's also going to be the costume contest, and then the special concert piano, which I believe is still the same piano concert we got here. Now, if they play any different songs, that would be interesting. I don't think they will. I think they're going to use it as a promotional tool for Duality, the CD. So day 2, opening showcase. Welcome to Naoki's room, which is Naoki Yoshida or Yoshi P, or Yoship, or I've never called him Naoki. But he's going to show you his rooms, and I'm not sure what's in there, but I'm sure it's fantastic. There's also going to be a costume runway. Why not? I'm not sure what that. I don't know how that's different from a costume contest. Well, I'm guessing somebody's not winning a prize, so I'm guessing if you just wanted to show off your costume, they're going to do a runway, like get up there, do a little catwalk, and walk around. It also could be because cosplay is really, really big in Japan, so maybe it's probably harder to narrow down 20 some odd people. It could be me, I don't know. And then there's going to be an Adrenaline Rush TV PvP tournament, just like here in the States, and the Primals would be playing a song, and of course, we don't know what they're playing, so they could be playing the same exact music, or they could be playing Shiva, and we'll not hear Shiva. I have a feeling they're going to play Shiva, and what's the one other song we didn't get to hear that everybody wanted? Brute Justice. They'll play Brute Justice and Shiva, and I don't think... Because they played Titan, they played Leviathan. I can't think of anything else they didn't play.
Yeah, I have to remember that Shiva was pretty popular. That wasn't there.
Can't think of anything.
I thought there was another one other than Brute Justice as well.
Did they play Sephiroth?
They did play Sephiroth, yeah.
Oh, we got Sephiroth. I can't think of anything else.
They actually, I think, didn't they encore with Sephiroth as well?
Yeah, I believe they did. We'll find out. You can rest assured that Maelstrom Radio will be watching that stream for two reasons. One, I want that Lulu. Two, I also get to see I get to see what's coming up next. And three, I get 2 free concerts again. So I ain't too shabby. Shin, you got anything else?
Not directly related to this.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm hoping by that time that my CDs come in, so I don't have to necessarily watch the stream, but I can listen to all the lovely songs again. I did pre-order Duality.
I put all my money into this computer and this mic and stuff. I mean, I think it was worth it. I'll just go visit Shin in Canada and listen to Duality.
Just make sure to remember your passport.
Real quick, there's a guy called Sasai Kadasai. All right, you can find him on. I use Spotify. He does this. He has this album called Reminiscence of Final Fantasy 15, and it's amazing. So if you love the Final Fantasy 15 music and the soundtrack's not out yet, you can listen to some of the music from. He does like covers them. Great stuff.
So
all right. So we're gonna move on to our main talking point. I had a crazy idea. I read an article.
As most are.
Yep. I read an article today about the action combat of not only Final Fantasy 15 but also Final Fantasy 7, and how it's kind of changing the landscape of the Final Fantasy universe. Because if you don't count the MMOs, and you can probably even count 11 a little bit, because 11 had menus. It's been mostly the normal like JRPG battle system, and this is the first like right turn they really took in making a stride in trying to make Final Fantasy 15 or the Final Fantasy series very different, and another genre where combat has been, I don't want to say stagnating, but it's been very much the same thing for quite some time. It has been the tab targeting of MMOs. Recently, I would say maybe in the last 3 years, action combat MMOs have been kind of trying to take a chunk of the we're a new combat system. It's fast paced. We can do it. We're Guild Wars, stuff like that. So my thought was, if they were going to make another Final Fantasy MMO, even though Yoshida said that as long as he's the director producer of 14, there will never be another Final Fantasy MMO. That's big talk. That is big talk. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but Yoshi is in the credits for Dragon Quest Builders, and I have a feeling he may be in the credits for Final Fantasy 15. I don't know that for a fact, but when I beat this game, I'm gonna be like, where is he? I know he's in here. So
again, 2018.
Yeah, 2018. It's gotta happen. So looking at that, like, and it's not I shouldn't say it's the very first time that they've done an action combat game, because they did Final Fantasy Dissidia, and that was action combat, but not to the extent of where 15 is, and I think where 7's gonna go. So I posed this question today to Shin and everyone else out there. By the way, if you think I'm fucking nuts, just email the show at maelstromradio.com.
I will read your email on the air.
And you can just berate me, I guess. So, can a Final Fantasy action MMO exist? Is it possible?
So I think it's kind of good to look at some of the other, I guess, action-based ones. Like you mentioned Guild Wars 2, which kind of has a system similar to that. And Terra, I think, is probably one of the major ones that people know. I think it was one of the, at least from my memory, it was one of the first that kind of had that action based, not just tab target, point, click, aim, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and then also we have Black Desert Online now, and what's that other one? Something, something, some other MMO.
That one.
Whatever. But yes, like Guild Wars 2, actually Guild Wars 2's Terra probably started that trend. Guild Wars 2 I think really is the one that kind of said like, hey, listen, we're sticking out our chests and sticking with this action combat because we really want to stand out from Warcraft and everything else. I could say probably Terra when it first came out, really popular. I don't know if it is, and if you play Terra, let me know. Tell me like, hey, listen, it's got a solid community. It's pretty big. We love it over here. You know, I'm not trying to talk shit about Terra. I don't know what the community is like right now. But I could say Guild Wars 2 is probably like a heftier community, a more solid community. It's doing a lot. Like they changed a lot of the game with the expansion, Heart of Thorns. They added 10-player dungeons and stuff like that. So like they were trying to like feed into more of that end game art, like instead of just making it PvP, trying to focus a little more on the PvE aspect of the game. So that being said, can this exist? Can in the world of Final Fantasy, can that exist? So my first question is going to be is the combat, and I'm going to connect these two together, the combat in relation to the jobs. Because you can't have Final Fantasy. I mean, you can, but it's. I
mean, we don't really, at least so far, as much as I've played, and I'm guessing you as well. Like, there's not really any specific job in 15. You have slightly different play styles between them, but there's not really so much the job system as older Final Fantasy games have had.
It's true. I mean, you have your range, which is Prompto, and then you have your heavy hitter, more of your tank, which is Gladio. Ignis is more of your DPS, in and out, fast guy with daggers. And then you were kind of the jack of all trades as Noctis.
Right. But there's no white mage or healer. There's no red mage. There's no dancer. There's no all those traditional. There's no Dark Knight. Like all of those really, really well-known Final Fantasy classes don't really exist here.
I mean, Gladio is technically the Dark Knight. Noctis is technically the Red Mage because he is the jack of all trades.
And you don't have like you go back to that like the old school. You don't have Black Mage plus White Mage Warrior or
no. It's because I'm crafting magics. Well,
which I was really impressed when, not impressed, but I liked when I crafted my first spell and the achievement I got was Black Mage.
Yep. So, like I said, it's Final Fantasy 15 is a far like we really I can. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to tell any story, but personally, so far, Final Fantasy 15 is fantastic. I think it's a solid game because it really needed to be good, or else Square Enix is going to tank after this. It's going to be really hard to like. I don't think they were stable after 1.0. Like I think 2.0 really helped stable the company, and then like 15 really I think gave them a boost because I think 5 million shipped. That's also including digital sales, and you kind of have to just count digital sales. So that's a pretty solid number. I think it sold more than Call of Duty, and the Call of Duty I think sold 3 million or shipped 3 million, something like that. So if you look at that, Final Fantasy, I think 15 did a pretty damn good job. Going back to the combat, all right.
So I think it's going to be kind of difficult here
because people are going to want individuality, just like Guild Wars 2. People are going to want. I want to be a white mage. I want to be a black mage. You could still do it. I think you could still do those jobs and still have an action combat game. Like a Dark Knight could just be a heavy, could still be kind of a tank type. Oddly enough, the name of this episode is Final Fantasy Next.
I was so disappointed I saw that was the title today.
Really? Did you?
It brought back very, very painful memories.
What do you painful memories, motherfucker? I did. Do you forget the other show I did?
Oh, I'm very, very aware.
By the way, if you don't know, if you didn't know, I hosted for 3 years. I hosted a podcast called Evercast, which was an EverQuest Next podcast. So if you guys remember any of the other podcasts out there, remember a list of podcasts that came out that were gaming podcasts. If you look under the EverQuest title, Evercast was there. So why they were listing Limit Break Radio, Phoenix Down Radio, Gather Together, all the other podcasts, I was up there going like, boy howdy, this game's gonna be great. Can't wait for it to come out. Boy, I love Daybreak games, blah blah blah. And it fucking got canceled. But
Too soon.
But it's okay because I was playing Final Fantasy 14 and my co-host didn't really care. But now they kind of care. My other co-host.
And now they all, well, I don't think they really care now still.
Yeah, okay. But it's okay because I still have this show.
Anyways, with the combat and the jobs, like, I feel like this would be very it'd be very possible with some of the more melee oriented classes and possibly with some of the ranged classes, but I think this would be really hard to implement well for casting classes, particularly healing. Like, as white mage is my main job in 14, I don't feel like it would be very interesting or beneficial really to have action-based combat.
What if you got a reticle, right? And
that would not make me any happier because people don't stand within range as it is today. If I have to actually aim at you, you're screwed.
What happens if it was radius, like within a radius of the reticle, like as long as we're within like. All right. What if the spells were? I don't want to say tab targeted because I don't want to like link you to tab. What if they were auto directed, almost like a beam of some sort, or like you can attach yourself to certain people and be like, all right, like I guarantee these heals are going to go off, or like AoE based healing, where a lot of it is AoE, and you can still do because right now you still love doing DPS. So let's say that's still an option, but now you have the option of doing AoE based heals, and if you need to do a single target, you can do I can lock on and then do a single, like no matter where they're standing, you can lock on and do a single target heal.
And I think that kind of mixes up, like, you have to have some sort of targeting system in order to do that sort of single target healing. But I think it also extends to other casting classes, like say a black mage. And then you start getting into the range of, do you want it to be more realistic? Do you want to be less realistic? Start having stuff like friendly fire, or like if I'm casting a spell in that direction, do people want to be in that area, or do they have to move out? If they can stand in that area, like, I'm just basically point clicking and shooting, no different than if I'm placing certain AE spells out today, which are not a very fun thing to do, particularly if you're using controllers.
You ain't lying. But I'm using
a controller. I don't use magic in 15. Mostly because I hurt myself with it.
I don't have a problem with it. Have you tried using adding potions to your spells?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could throw a fire on yourself and you heal yourself. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm saying it's possible.
More of my friends that I'm worried about. I heal myself and they all die because I just throw stuff.
I feel like that should be healing them as well. If it's not, that might be a bug.
I haven't really tried because after I threw the first couple of them, I realized I really suck with magic, so I'm just going to stick with warp striking.
It works. Warp striking is solid. I mean, I just was like...
So far.
I made unicasts, and I just threw them out, and I'm like, it's going to be a surprise every time. It's fun when I electrocute people, and they're just like, ah. Mage Phoenix down. Paul Metal in chat, everybody. So... Alright, so, like, we have our... So, alright, what about, like, an archer where it's more range, you're not really... That would be more of the lock-on.
Well, you have the same sort of issues there. Like, how do you deal with how do I shoot? Do we have line of sight issues? Do I have to have a direct target to you? If there's other people in the way, if there's other NPCs in the way, how do you determine how that gets hit? And if I'm off by a certain degree, or do I have to hit straight on, or is there a range? Like, there's all these different questions with how do you do it. And I feel like it's an extremely fine line between making it basically point and click, which is effectively our tab targeting we have today, or too much where you have to be exactly spot on, and if you're not, then you don't get your hit in.
Unless you get the lock on thing, like you right click to lock on the target and make sure, and then you can start doing your casts. Which I understand. Tab targeting, I know, I get that. Trust me, I'm with you. But see, the point is the action combat, right? Like you should be able to move and fire and roll around and do all the crap you need to do. So I would think like it's a lot more movement based. So you're dodging out of stuff, kind of like how Prompto would kind of do Jiggity Jam right now. He's kind of in the back. Although I gave him
taking pictures.
Yeah, I have a gun. Also, I have a camera.
Yeah, no, he's like full-time snapshot duty for me.
Yeah. Oh, really? He doesn't do anything else. He just taking cool action combat pics.
I was actually one of my coworkers asked me to do a quick review of 15 over the weekend, or based on what I was doing. So I wrote up this massive long list that was a lot longer than I expected. And yeah, my favorite part of the game so far is Prompto's pictures.
You know, there's like at certain times of day, there's certain spots where you can go stand and take pictures.
Yeah, I've already done a couple of them.
I found a bird I could sit next to at one of the spots, and I sat down next to the bird and took a picture of it. I was like, "Yep, me and bird." So, I wish I had that in Final Fantasy, where machinists would be awesome. Like, what, the machinists have a camera and that's all they do is snap photos?
Hell, I'd do that as a white mage. Actually, I have done that once during a Leviathan fight, and then I lost all of the footage, which kind of sucked.
That does bites. All right, let's move on to questing. All right, so just like we have questing now, and it's a lot of go here, do the thing, go here. Not saying Final Fantasy 15 is really too much different from go here and do the thing, but I think the idea of the traveling, like the car, like this open world and exploring, and not knowing what you'll find in between you and the thing, is nice. So what do you think that would be a benefit to actually any combat MMO? I think would almost benefit from this, like, because I think the dungeons are more of your static, like you know what's going on in there.
Are you talking about more like being able to automatically travel to the quest destinations, or what part of the traveling are you like?
I'm talking about like the exploration part of the traveling. Like, I find myself never going straight to the point, unless like for early on, yes, but then I got to a point where it's like, I wonder what's over here. Oh, I wonder what's over here. Oh man, I bet you that goes someplace. So I never go directly where I'm supposed to go right away. I'm always veering off and seeing, can I climb up this side of the mountain? Oh, I can. What did I find up here? Oh, cool. Like, I'm always doing that. I think that, like I said, if you've not watched this show before, I love worlds that make me want to explore them, and I like seeing that in any MMO. And Guild Wars 2 does that really well. Like, they do have vistas, and they want you to go and find stuff. Not to say Final Fantasy 14 doesn't have that. They have the spots you can go peep out and everything like that. Like, so I mean, that's a thing, but I like the concept of, hey, that kind of looks like a slight hill I can climb in the mountain. I wonder if I can get up to the top. And you can't. You find out you can, and you're like, I did it. I got up here and I found a weapon.
I actually, to bring another game into this, I really enjoyed that with some of Legion's recent expansion, or Warcraft's recent expansion there with Legion, being able to climb and grapple up a lot of the areas within that zone.
Stormheim, yeah, with the grappling gun, or the grapple hook, or whatever it was. Yeah, you could like hop around and fly around, and it led you to some cool places. And it was also a way to collect some of the treasures they hid across the island, or that part of the continent. So I think questing would be really cool. I think I like the idea of these go to a town, talk to somebody, or talk to tipsters, and all. Like, I like that. Like the people going to people like, oh, let me see your map, and I can show you stuff that's on the map, and like I think that's so cool, and I think that could be even implemented into 14 like so easily. Like you could have this, you could meet people, NPCs that could show you stuff on like little hidden nooks and crannies on the map, and be like, there's treasure over here.
It'd be a little bit different, I think, with an MMO, especially since you're sharing the world with so many other people. Like, if you have other players and you're all competing to go to this one spot, it doesn't feel as special. Like with 15, you go to that spot and yeah, some other person could have found it, but you found that in your game and there's no one else around. It's just like that's your spot. Or you found that photo opportunity, or you found this harvesting area, or this whatever, this treasure. And I think with an MMO, it really quickly becomes everyone just happens to know that spot, so everyone just goes there, does the thing, and then leaves. I think that's part of why like vistas are a really interesting concept in 14, where you can go and explore the world and get a little bit of XP and a pretty decent screenshot opportunity from all these different places that you can go in the world. And sometimes you need flying to get there, sometimes you need to do different things to get there, or different emotes to unlock that vista. But ultimately, I don't find a lot of people use that system, because what's the point? Even as someone who really likes to explore, there's not really any incentive for me to go through the world and find all these vistas right now, apart from if I really wanted that loot.
What are you talking about? We're getting paintings.
Case in point.
You get those sweet photos for our house. All right, let's say, but that's now. What's to prevent them from adding it? Like, all right, let's say, for example, there was an NPC that, because Rift did this. Remember, I don't know if you remember, all that was on a time thing. There was, I don't know what faction you played on. Did you play on? I can't remember the faction names.
I played both throughout alpha and beta.
All right, good enough. All right, it was the I guess the bad guys, the ones that use machine.
Defiant?
Yeah, Defiant. All right, I don't remember. There was a guy at the cart outside the Defiant area, and you could kill him, and you get the title Merchant of Death. And nobody knew. Like, you had the option of saving him, you didn't get jack shit for it. But if you killed that fucker, you got the title Merchant of Death. You could be level 3 and rolling around with the title Merchant of Death above your head. I thought that was so cool. I mean, like, things like that where they can add like these little puzzles. I remember there was the lake near the Defiant area that you go down you swam, like, you didn't know you had to go like swimming. I remember I was out there for like a quest, and I was like, I'm just gonna see how far this lake goes. And I went down. I was like, oh, there's orbs, and I started clicking the orbs in order, and all of a sudden I unlocked it. I got server first for getting a purple piece for my level 15 character. I was like, what? That needs to happen. Final Fantasy, Nakio, fucking show me your room, Yoshida. Get that in my goddamn life.
And I don't know if that has to go so much with the action combat or the different questing styles. Like, I think that's just, it's really cool when developers and companies go and put all this little hidden content in there. And I guess it really does, especially coming from software development, those features that aren't something that you're going to tell people about, and it's not something that you want to invest a lot of time in because people don't see it. People see those little additions and think, wow, that's really cool, but it's not something you can go out to your board of directors or your stockholders or the community and be like, hey guys, we made 3 dungeons and we made 4 raids and we did all of this massive content. You're not going to go out there and say, hey, we put thousands of little hidden things in. Good luck. People would just not respond well to that, I don't think. If you happen to put out 4 raids and 3 dungeons and all this other stuff, and then put 1,000 things in, but don't tell anybody, it's awesome. But it's really hard to justify, at least to more corporate-y things.
You know, I'd be the one asshole in the crowd, be like, yay! Like, everybody's like, looks at me, and I'm like, you guys don't like that? I like that. That's great. I'm gonna do shit now. I'm gonna go find stuff in the world. God forbid.
I don't know if they put in a way for us to like punt Lalafels.
I mean,
there would be lots of cheering on that one.
Paul Metal in chat, but diehard fans of the game would love it though. Yeah, like me. To be fair, I will say that Shin's not saying that from a point of view of a. He's saying that from a point of view of a software developer. As a fan, Shin would love it too.
Oh, I would absolutely love it. I loved Guild Wars 2 wandering around the world and happened to come across special little puzzles or whatnot, like either jumping puzzles or whatever. Rift did the jumping puzzles really well, I think. Some of them were really hard. Some of them unlocked secret things. Like, it was just really awesome to come across these things, and it's part of the world. It's not, hey, I'm playing this another MMO. It's, I'm playing this piece of
Content,
not culture, but it's a part of the world. It's the lore. It's, you're involved with what's going on, not, hey, I'm walking from A to B to go kill 10 rats again.
It's the, I'm getting something for my love of exploration. Like, I'm getting something out of it. Like, I remember there was one jumping puzzle where you had to jump from this really high spot and land in water, like super high. Like, and if you it was threading the needle. And I did it, and I got them. Like, yes, I got the achievement. And like, I remember other people saw me do it, and then other people saw me jump off, and like everybody else around me was missing and dying. It's like, and I just got up and walked away. I was like, oh, nerds. Like, there was a specific spot you had to jump from.
And it's also like, it's an accomplishment, right? You found something hidden in the world and you went and completed it. It might have been really difficult, but you're one of those people that could do it. It's like the achievement system with a lot of games have nowadays. Like, you have the really easy achievements that everyone has, and then there's those super rare, hard to do achievements, and everyone wants to do them.
Yep. Paul Metal in chat also. What? Don't kick the Lala. Paul, always kick the Lala. I'm sorry, Paul, but Lalas aren't the gnomes of Final Fantasy 14. And if we punt gnomes, we gotta kick gnomes, we gotta kick Lalas. So, unless there's some sort of Lala sort of, group. Like, is there a safe space for Lala? You can send all hate mail to show at Maelstrom Radio. Flatus.
Yeah, things that, yeah, anyways.
I mean, you're right. Paul brought up a good point. We don't have hard achievements in the game already. It's true. We really don't have super hard achievements. Everything's achievable by it's a numbers game. It's really like, just do this repetitively and you'll get this achievement. Eventually you'll just get it by doing it. It's also, unfortunately, how we unlock the mentor system is by level up these 3 different things and just play 300 dungeons, and guess what? You'll be a thing. I think there should be more to it. I think there should be more to that. Now, this is getting really far from our topic, and we could probably do a show on like that sort of crap. But
we do a whole show on hunting Lalafells. So.
Yeah, we could. The Lala clan will not stand for this. Yes, they will. Oh, they won't stand for it because they'll be on the ground. All right, so what's the setting?
Are they really standing anyway?
No, well, maybe. For all they, to me, I don't know if you've ever seen King of the Hill. Do you remember? What's his name? Hank Hill's dad. His dad looks like Lala. Go look up like Hank Hill's dad, Cotton Hill. Cotton Hill looks like a Lalafell because he got his shin shot off in Nom. So he walks around like Lalafell. So I always think, every time I always want to name a Lalafell Cotton Hill. Nobody else, it'd be like 3 King of the Hill fans on Fanfare being like, I get it. So the setting, would you want to see a more modern Final Fantasy MMO, or would you stick with the fantasy setting of the 14 and 11? Now here's a chance to break away. We could break away, do a modern White Mage, the modern, like, you step away and go forward. You can keep it like even in the like a 15 or 7 sort of aspect where it is a little more modern. There's still these classes, there's still healers, summoners, like they still have these things. They're just tweaked a little bit.
I'm really conflicted on this topic. Like, I really enjoy the fantasy world that we have in 14. Like it's very high fantasy. We have Magitech. It's kind of steampunk tech stuff, which is cool. So you get a little bit of that modern vibe with the guns and the vehicles and stuff like that, and the airships. But we also have a very high fantasy, and there's still magic and all these different things that come with the high fantasy setting. But 15 has a really cool world too, being very, very modern. Like there's still Magitech there. It's a lot more technical. They still have the magic to some degree, but it is definitely much more modern than 14. And I really don't know what would be better. Like they're both really interesting settings.
I think if they really wanted to like shake up the MMO genre a bit, like just to shake it up just a bit. Like Secret World tried to go for super modern, but in a horror setting. I think if Final Fantasy did it with like a modern setting, but with a Final Fantasy twist where you still have magic, you still have the Magitech, but it's still a little more modern. I think it would do really well. I think people would be like, "Holy shit, that's kind of fresh," because you could still have dragons.
We still have had MMOs that kind of do that more modern look. Like there was, as you said, there that. We've had Defiance was definitely a more modern looking MMO. It was more of a shooter than RPG style, but it was more modern. There were a couple other ones, and they're completely escaping my mind at the moment, but I do remember there was a couple other ones that kind of were that more modern. Like you could also go all the way to PlanetSide, but PlanetSide and PlanetSide 2 were more futuristic even than modern.
Yeah. And some people, I don't know, some people still wouldn't even call PlanetSide 2 or 1 MMOs, although they are MMOs, they are massively multiplayer. Back to Paul Metal and Chad, it would be pretty cool. I would pay for both subs because I'm a diehard fan, so I don't mind it. Yeah, that's it would have to be one of those things where if it came out right now, it would be hard for me to pick one or the other. If it was really down the lifeline of like 14's been out for a long time, they really aren't putting, like if they did where it was 11 where they ended the story and it's still open to play but it's not developing any new content, I'd probably move on. Eventually I'd want to move on and try the new thing. If it was really boring and I couldn't do it anymore, to be like, well, peace. But I don't know, I mean, it's not like I haven't paid for 2 MMOs. I mean, I once had the complete with the Daybreak or SOE, like where I paid for all the MMOs. I was like,
yep,
one all access, one sub, 27 things. All right.
No, I think this would actually be kind of interesting. With 14, we've explored a lot of the current continent that we're on. And we're continuing to explore bits and pieces, especially now that we're going towards Ala Mhigo and some of the more Garlean technology. We know that they are much more technology-based and much more scientific than what we've seen so far. So maybe not necessarily this upcoming expansion, but if we ever go more into their territory, maybe we'll see a complete new area of 14 that actually is more technology based or more modern looking as opposed to the high fantasy setting we have today.
And we know it exists. We've seen Ozlaslaw, so we know that tech. We know tech is there, and it's just it just comes down to we have the Garleans who are technically advanced, but lack the magic that we use versus the rest of the world. And really, I think after Ala Mhigo, it is a Garlean area. So if we are moving that way, I believe we would go to, is it Garlemald? Is that there?
That would be the capital, I think.
Yeah. I would believe we would probably Say that again?
We also have the moon base. Go to space.
Goddamn moon base. Yeah, there's the moon base. I don't know I don't even know what we would do on the moon. I'm sorry, we've seen the moon. There ain't a lot of shit there. There's the base and that's it. I don't know how, like, maybe if it was a dungeon.
That we've seen so far.
If that whole
Lachlan.
if that whole didn't that moon get blown up? Wasn't that moon just dragged across space and time?
At least once, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because you look up in the night sky and it's cracked in two and spread across. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say other games haven't done it. EverQuest did it. EverQuest 2, I don't think EverQuest 2 ever went to the moon. Lucklin was destroyed, though, in EverQuest 2. Well, you did go to Lucklin in EverQuest 1, though. There is like 3 people right now that are like, oh my god, they know what they're talking about, EverQuest.
It's not like I played for 10 years or anything.
No, right. It's not like I did a podcast. If they did it as a dungeon, I guess. I don't know what the hell is up there. Because technically, we had 2 moons. One was an eggshell for a big old mean dragon. So
yeah, that didn't last too long.
No, he was very upset. Very angry. The other ones just got like, that's the actual moon. But I don't know. But eventually, I think we're trying to get off our continent to move other places in the world. I would think. We can't just beat a Pangea.
We already know that there are other places in the world that we haven't been to that are not part of our current continent. Like, for example, there's the whole refugee situation.
The Far East.
The Domans and all of them coming over here. And then we also have the Charlayan group that wherever they went after.
Yep.
So there's definitely a few other places out there that we are currently aware of. I guess space is also a place that's not technically in our current continent that we are aware of, but there's all these other different places that we could go, and we assume that those aren't isolated areas either. There's not a lot of reason to have a single city on a continent and nothing else. So there's probably fully built out groups, civilizations, countries, whatever out in those areas that we could theoretically go and visit.
I don't know what Paul's on in chat, but he's like, no, we have a lot of moons because they're all different worlds in this game we call home. So I told him to go home because he's drunk.
And also, they did put in the whole listing of the multi-world theory here with it, that we know that this is kind of like the nexus or the hub of all the different worlds from Final Fantasy. And especially with the latest storyline, we had the other Heroes of Light or the Heroes of Darkness from the first shard there come over to ours and interact with us. So there's really no, if they wanted to, we could hop to another dimension and that one could be completely different from ours. Maybe that one's your whole science and technology stuff.
Probably. Paul Metal Doman place got destroyed though. Was it destroyed or was it taken over? My thought that it was taken over. Like, that's why they were refugees, because they escaped. Much like how the Alamegans that escaped Alamigo were refugees that went to Ul'dah. That the Domans were refugees escaping their lands because of a similar situation, which I would believe is when we'll see Yugiri again. Just because I believe with the and may she rest in peace, but the death of the voice actress and everything, I don't think we'll see Yugiri for a while. So they said it got destroyed. It's a shame.
Even if it got destroyed, that town or that region probably was not sitting by itself in the middle of nowhere, off separate from everything. Like, they would have different civilizations nearby, and especially like they got destroyed by the Garleans, I believe. And if that's the case, then they're probably nearby. So like, there is different parts that are connected, and there are parts that we still don't know about. Like, they would have had other partners, trading partners or stuff around them that they probably could have interacted with.
That's true. So I got one more question for you. We'll make it quick. Have you gone to any of the dungeons in Final Fantasy 15? Have you gone into any of them, like just to peek out?
So I've encountered the first dungeon. I think that was in chapter 2.
All right.
And that's all that I have found so far.
Okay.
And then I found another one within that, but I wasn't allowed in yet.
Because you didn't have the key. That was my
Yeah.
kind of point where there's this final door with a key, and there's more dungeon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so there's lots, and that's all that I found so far. No spoilers.
the dungeons. No, I tried to not spoil myself, but I did. So I avoided story, but I wanted to see just a non-story dungeon, a extra like just a an extra dungeon. So I made sure I was like I typed into Google. I was like, not story related dungeon Final Fantasy 15 gameplay. So I found a video and I was like, all right, this is nothing to do with the story, so good. I can watch this one and not be spoiled. They besides that one, they do a lot of cool stuff. Like there's a lot of tricks and turns and puzzles, and I'm like, yes, like do more.
Have you done the first dungeon yet? I know you're a little bit behind where I am.
I am behind you. No, I have not. So that's when I watched the video. Doesn't mean I didn't go into a dungeon.
It's without spoiling anything. It's nothing special. It's not like, I'm guessing, not like the video that you saw. It's your first introduction to what a dungeon might be in this game. So they're very, very lenient with what's happening, but you can they definitely railroad you through it at the beginning.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
But even after, like when you complete this, they unlock a whole bunch of other stuff. So you don't get, it's more of a railroad you through so that you don't get lost the first time you do it, and then good luck, have fun stuff.
Yeah.
But there's definitely that you can see the potential in what they could become and what they can do.
Yeah. So I know this is like weird, like I know this topic's kind of weird, but essentially what we're trying to say is that if there was going to be a new Final Fantasy MMO and it was action based, I could say chapter 12 for me. Paul, you're a lot further than both of us, trust me. I'm a completionist, and I spent maybe 15 hours in chapter 1.
Yeah, I spent 5 hours in chapter 1, but I did all the quests and everything that I could find.
I did all the things. I got so far with Dave and those damn tags that they started sending me to new areas of the map I don't think I could have unlocked because
there was only like 3 quests in. I completed those.
I got to a point where Dave was like, wait a minute. Like, they were showing me Dave quests, and I was like, I can't get there yet.
Yeah, no, that's locked, yeah.
Yeah. So, don't worry, though. I started to say, as soon as I started, like, hold on. Let me get through this dot, and I'll jump back to that for memories of this week. So, what we're trying to go here is that could a Final Fantasy action combat MMO be based in kind of what they did with 15, because really 15 is going to be a Final Fantasy game for a lot of people. And they're going to go back, like especially they're like 7's remake, 12's being redone. People are going to be like, oh, what's 13 about? Let me go. Fucking please don't play 13. Please, if you played 15, don't go back and play 13. No. I mean, if you want to, but don't do it. Go play the remake of 7 and maybe like 12. And then go play like the old 7.
7, 9, 12, 6, 4.
6. Oh, definitely 6. Oh.
I lost. I know there's some that are renamed or renumbered between Japanese and English. I can't remember which is which.
They're
just the main ones that I remember hearing numbers of.
R3 was their 6. So, but 6 is like 6 in general is just fantastic though. I've already football medal. I've already played 13. Why did I do it? Oh, don't worry. That's the same question I said after I finished it. I'm like, what just happened? I'm not sure if I played a Final. Honestly, though, if you don't know, the Final Fantasy 13 was supposed to be a Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy 13 was supposed to be Final Fantasy 15, but this wasn't ready, and they were working on this other thing. They're like, we could kind of turn this into a Final Fantasy game, and they did, and it was terrible.
I'm glad I waited because it's pretty decent. I can't tell for anyone if this is a great Final Fantasy game or not, but it's a great game.
It is a great game. The reviews. What happened? We'll get there. Hold on. All right, so
we'll do a whole other show on Final Fantasy 15 in a few months, probably.
Yeah, we're for 2 reasons. One, we want to give people time to actually go through the game. Although a lot of people are finishing the game.
We want to finish the game.
And I don't think it would be like a normal Maelstrom Radio like episode. It could be, but I'd probably want to do like a special like Final Fantasy 15 version of Maelstrom Radio. so that it's still us, but Crowbar a little bit of space in between us and Final Fantasy 14. Can I be there? Paul, actually, that's one of the things I was thinking of is as having a few people. If it's spoilers,
Spoilers.
it may be round table. So, to get back to close this out, could a Final Fantasy 15 or I'm sorry, could a Final Fantasy action MMO exist? Yeah. The combat,
It'd be weird.
it'd be a little weird if they made it class based, but Guild Wars works in the sense, so you could make it work. I have to say that I think part of the drive for Square, and if they really wanted it to work, they'd get Yoshi P on it. You can make it work. We just don't know how. We know it can be done because we've seen it done. Guild Wars does it. And to say that be cool to see a modern world Final Fantasy game in an MMO. So can it be done? Yes. Will it be done? I have no flipping idea. I really don't. Like I said, the last thing Yoshi P ever said is that if there will be no other Final Fantasy MMO as long as I run Final Fantasy 14. And that makes sense because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot when you have a really popular and successful MMO. That's not to say if Final Fantasy, knock on wood, but Final Fantasy 14 ever seems to be dying out and it's at the end of its life. Like I said, eventually the story will end like 11 did. Then maybe then they work on it. But for now, I'm okay.
EverQuest 1 is still going strong.
20 some odd
Yeah.
expansions later.
Years.
So I will end it like this. I'm super excited for Stormblood. Final Fantasy 15 is really great. I'm excited that they're and I no offense, if you play PlayStation 3, goddamn, dude, I hope you bought a PlayStation because they were super cheap. Like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they were dirt cheap. Like I know, I feel for you if you don't have the money. Like I get it. Like I do understand. But put a couple bucks away to the side, couple every I know it's hard. I'm not trying. Trust me, I'm the guy that ate nothing but ramen and toast for a year because I had no money paying my rent. So I understand what it's
and
not.
he just has all the fancy new equipment now.
Hey man, shit turns around eventually. So, but I've been there, and if you want to continue to enjoy Final Fantasy 14, you may need to stop, to say, hey, you know what, if I need to play this game if in the future, and you're get a free upgrade to PS4, I would say if you need to actually even unsub to the game for a little bit and collect those ducats and put it in your pocket, and to get a PlayStation 4, do that, and
Plus you can get 15.
Yeah, you get 15 as well. So you get 14 for free. You need got a couple extra bucks and you get a game. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure GameStop's still taking PS3s in trade. I'm pretty sure that. I mean, you may not get a lot for it, but it's something. So, or sell it. I mean, there's Facebook groups you can sell crap to. Anyway, let's get to mail and memories. We have no mail. Mostly because we just got out on iTunes and us giving out our mail. We also didn't give out our mail and stuff last week because we suck. But memories this week. Final Fantasy 15. We could talk a bit. I didn't talk a lot. A bit. Go ahead. How have you been enjoying it so far?
So I'm almost 10 hours into the game now, just hitting chapter 3, realizing that chapter 1 there was a little bit of open world stuff. You could explore a relatively small little area, and do all these different little side quests and kind of introduce yourself to everything. Chapter 2 I found went a little bit faster. There wasn't so many side quests. It was very, very story driven. But I've now come to chapter 3, and everything's exploding in terms of there's just so much more world and so much more that I can do. And there's too many side quests to keep track of at this point, and there's so many things going on. So I think that I'm going to be stuck in this chapter for quite a few more hours. But at the same time, I kind of love the screenshots thing, and if you've seen my Twitter at all, it's full of screenshots from 14 or from 15, and I haven't posted all of the ones that I've saved to my photo album there. So I will definitely be posting a lot more in the upcoming weeks.
Also, I'm not going to say we didn't get shit, but we got some shit from Doctron, who logged in. And he's like, nobody's on. Gave us shit for it.
I think we're going to have to start like organizing time. This day is 15. This day is 14. This day we have a podcast, so we should probably not do either.
I mean, we could probably do...
while we're doing the podcast.
Wow. We can do 15 afterwards. Paul Metal in chat real quick. Stop killing my Twitter. Same for me. I've been playing 15. Actually, I spent a lot of this weekend also cleaning out my old my Cooler Master half case and making it all pretty and rewiring and taking out extra wires I didn't need anymore because I used to have a sleeve configuration. I don't have that anymore. So I have more room, better wire things going on there, faster RAM, all that. Like we started the show that way. But I've been played 15 as well. And so far, I enjoy it a lot better than I did 13. 14's MMO, so I don't compare those, but still great things. So far, maybe top 5 right now. Just based on how much I enjoy the camaraderie between the 4 guys and them running around and stuff like that. So I really dig that. I think it makes it feel super alive. Like I feel like their friendship's a lot more real. So I really enjoy that. Other than that, I don't know. We probably should be jumping into Final Fantasy IV. Like, although I am going to give Donkeytron some shit because he can't say crap because he's been playing WoW and he's like, I'm coming back, guys, I'm coming back. And they never came back. And he was just still playing WoW. So he's like, I'm trying to figure out how to balance work and playing video games. I'm like, well, the idea is you sleep less. Really.
That's how it always comes out.
Yeah, it's really... And then we do a podcast, so, you know. What's sleep? Anyway.
I do have one slight complaint about the game so far.
Uh-oh. No, it's okay. I do too.
I'm one of those people that really enjoys the original language that things are made in. So I, of course, am listening to the entire game in Japanese with English subtitles. One of the things that they did not do is caption all of the text in the game. And I can understand this for some of the conversations that you just hear in passing, but there's some small little bits that are there often. Like, for example, when you go and talk to some of the tipsters, they have a little bit of sentence that they say when they just kind of introduce themselves or say, hey, welcome, or something like that. And none of that is actually localized or subtitled so that people who don't understand Japanese can understand what's going on. And even to this point, sometimes the banter between them is not actually translated, which is fairly annoying as someone who doesn't really understand Japanese. I can understand a little bit of it, so I have a general idea of what's kind of going on, but I definitely don't get the full bit of it. And for those who don't understand anything, would be completely lost on them.
Same. I understand a little bit, but not like I don't think. Sometimes they talk, like even with like them bantering back and forth, I couldn't imagine because there's sometimes they just banter and it's such like quick-witted things, that would suck because some of it's really funny. Like I remember I think one where Prompto was talking about Cindy. He's like, I wonder if she's single. Like I was like, and I started laughing. I'm like, oh, Prompto.
I think my favorite sporadic moment like that was as we were going through the wilderness somewhere, and we go and we fight a battle, and we finish the battle, and Prompto out of nowhere just sings the Final Fantasy victory theme, and that was amazing.
Yep. I want to grab that as a clip. I'm not sure how I'd use it for the show, but I want to grab it for the clip.
I also hear that he does the Chocobo theme, but I haven't got Chocobos yet, so...
We gotta get those. So, we've gone a little bit over, but yeah, that's what happens. We did start a little late. But I got nothing else left for this week. Next week, Monday, probably again, we'll be doing the show. Let me check out the old calendar. Because we do have some holidays coming up, so I'm trying to figure out when we may not be doing it.
I think we're still good for the 13th.
13th? 12th, you mean? Unless we're doing...
12th.
All right.
I can do math.
Yep. So we'll still be here the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th. Well, 26th we may be here because that would be right after FanFest. So, but I will talk to Shin.
We'll see how that one goes. We'll have to play that by
Is it-
ear. I'm not sure if I'll be available.
Yeah, but if not, I mean, if anything, we have a whole week. But there's
We
also
should have a show on the 12th, I'm guessing, the 19th, and then probably off the 26th.
yeah,
We'll see about the 2nd.
yes. I mean, I have off. So, but
We might be able to do some sort of show midweek or something, maybe to make up for it.
yep.
Especially because FanFest is right on the 25th there.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to talk about what we find out there and what we see. I want to know what's going on in his room. I gotta know. I'm paying $30. It better be a fucking great room. I'm not getting fucking Stormblood info if I'm in his room, unless I am. Maybe it's got like hidden like Storm. That'd be so fucking crazy if he has like Stormblood shit like in the nooks and crannies of his room, and he's like, hey, look at my room, guys. Look at this. Check this shit out.
It doesn't blur it all.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's all pixelated, and you're like, damn, he's got a real fascination with naked things. Anyways. Yep. Yoshi P's fucking room's covered in porn posters. Well,
And on that note,
do you want to tell the people where they can find us?
sure, for the first time in Maelstrom Radio history, we can finally do a full proper show promotion. You can find us on Twitter at Maelstrom_radio or on Twitch, which hopefully you are watching currently. But if not, we stream live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, at twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. You can email us at show@maelstromradio.com, or you can find our website at www.maelstromradio.com. Luckily, if you would like to subscribe and listen to our podcasts offline or after the show, you can also find us on YouTube just by a quick Google search of Maelstrom Radio on YouTube. Or you can go to our website and subscribe to us through either iTunes, Google Play Music, or Stitcher.
Well, we did it, guys. And by guys, I mean Shin. So, we discussed Action Combat, we discussed a little bit of 15, and we got our show up on iTunes. I think we did a pretty damn good job this last week. The sound quality went through the roof.
Well.
We did. I deserve it, but because I think this show sounded great today. I would think. We'll find out after. It may have been all for shit. I don't know. Although Paul's been responding, so it's been a good thing. Guys, thank you so much for watching Maelstrom Radio, listening live here on Twitch. Thank you for downloading our show. Leave us a like, comment, and rate us, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to Maelstrom Radio. Today's episode is produced by Shintra Zarek and Flatus, aka Cypher Blackfire. You can find us on the web at www.maelstromradio.com. You can email the show at show@maelstromradio.com. You can find us on Twitter at Maelstrom_radio and on Twitch at twitch.tv/MaelstromRadio. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/MaelstromRadio. The intro provided by Benjamin Anthony James, and the outro provided by Sodo. And until Seaswell is all, we'll see you next time.